everyone. We are going to be talking about a fairly broad and I think fascinating field looking at emotions. Especially, we will discuss emotions definitions, their actual nature and the connection with brain. In start, I want to clear one point. It's not our heart that controls our emotions, but it's our brain. Before going into nuances, it is imperative to know why. What would our lives to be like without emotions? They would be empty of values, empty of worth, empty of morals, empty of ethics. So, a famous classical poet said, "We hate and we love. Can one tell me why?" Catullus. Science does not answer why questions, but science only answers how questions. There is an impenetrable mystery in the fact that subjective experience exists in a physiochemical world, but it is potentially penetrable with neuroscience. Now I get kind of kick out of this because I'm going to explain emotions that we all experience every day, and I'm going to explain it in a very clinical, cold sounding manner. The term emotion is derived from Latin word emovere, which means to move or to agitate. Emotions are reaction to person, object or event and expressed in a variety of ways. People frequently express emotions through their thoughts, behavior and psychological reaction. Some 92 definitions of emotions were listed in one review and hope more could be found. Firstly, I wanted to distinguish the difference between emotions, feelings and mood. But sometimes people slip and use feelings and mood interchangeably, but they are actually different. Emotions are often confused with feelings and mood. Feelings arise from an emotional experience. Because a person is conscious of the experience, this is classified in the same category as hunger or pain. A feeling is the result of an emotion or may be influenced by memories, beliefs and other factors. Mood. A mood is described by the American Psychological Association as any short-lived emotional state, usually of low intensity. Mood differs from emotions because they lack stimuli and have no clear starting point. For instance, insult. Insult can trigger the emotion of anger, while an angry mood may arise without any apparent cause. So, this is the difference between emotions, feelings, and mood. Emotions are basic building blocks. Here we go with the definitions in simple. Definition of emotion should say something about the way we feel when we are emotional. Mention the physiological or bodily basis of emotional feelings. Include the effects of emotions on perception, thinking and behavior. Point out the driving motivational properties of certain emotions. Refer to the ways in which emotions are expressed in language, facial expressions and gestures. Out of 92 definitions, actually none is generally accepted. In a way, the aspects of emotions that we listed before are a definition. According to Robbins, emotions are intense feelings that are directed at someone or something. According to P.T. Young, emotion is an acute disturbance of the individuals as a whole involving behavior, conscious experience and visceral functioning. For example, if someone scolds you and you get angry, this is emotion. It means you have emotions. Here, according to the book Discovery Psychology by Don Hockenberry and Sandra E. Hockenberry, an emotion is a complex psychological state that involves three distinct components: a subjective cognitive state, a physiological response, or expressive response. Three components of emotions: subjective cognitive state, physiological reaction, expressive response. Subjective cognitive state. The personal experience we label as emotions. Physiological reaction. Changes within our bodies, shifts in heart rates, blood pressures, and so on, etc. Every emotion produces different physiological responses within the body, which can include distinct changes and patterns of brain activation, neurotransmitter production, and autonomic nervous system activity. Expressive response. Outward signs of these internal changes. Emotional psychologist Paul Ekman identified 6 basic emotions: fear, anger, shock, sadness, happiness, disgust. He expanded the list in 1999 to also include embarrassment, excitement, contempt, shame, pride, satisfaction, amusement. Let's talk about their actual nature. What are emotions and what are they good for? Fear. Fear makes a lot of sense as a basic core emotion. It helps people avoid potentially dangerous things in the world around them. It's defined by avoidance behavior. It's goal-directed. Anger. One of the best predictors of anger is pain, and that reveals something but its usefulness and utility. It helps you to realize energy. That's its main purpose. Anger with its accompany change the heart rate and muscle tone prepares you to fight a fight. Disgust. It's an evolutionary mechanism to protect us from eating poisonous food or getting too close to contaminated things, kind of like broccoli. If someone dislikes broccoli, so someone feels disgust. Sadness. The purpose of sadness isn't quite so clear, though it shares the negative valence or unpleasantness of other emotions like fear and disgust. It's distinct from others. Happiness. It is ironically odd one of all the emotions. Perhaps happiness is the lack or absence of all the negative emotions. Emotions in the brain. How brain works with the emotions. Anger. Anger seems to be located in the frontal part of our brain culture over frontal cortex. Here, orbitofrontal cortex. The red labeled part is the orbitofrontal cortex, which activates with the anger emotion. Disgust. Disgust is time to time again to be activating a part of the brain called the insula. This part not only activates with rotten food and faces and vomit, but also with morally outrageous acts of other people. Fear. Fear continuously activates the amygdala, and it's really important for a few responses. When you see like a snake, for instance, the amygdala goes crazy immediately. Sadness. Sadness is a bit more difficult, but we think sadness debates down anterior cingulate cortex, which is an important region in between the more modern neocortex of brain and more classically all parts of the limbic system. Happiness. Happiness is funny. We don't actually know happiness is in the brain. There is no region we know of that consistently activates with happiness. Here we go with more detail. Emotions are complex. It is very easy to show your emotions, to express your emotions through your facial expressions, but it is very complex. It is very difficult to describe your emotions in words. So, emotions are complex. Basic emotions are associated with facial expressions and tend to happen automatically. Charles Darwin was the first to suggest that emotion included facial expressions are universal. It's simple. You show your emotions through your face, through your facial expressions. Like when you are happy, you give a smile. And when you are sad, when you are fear, when you are angry, you show different facial expressions. So, you show your emotions through your facial expressions. Well, emotions are biological states associated with the nervous system. brought on by neurophysiological changes. Emotions greatly affect the body organs. Our emotions affect our body organs badly. Anger. Anger weakens your liver. Grief weakens your lungs. Worry weakens your stomach. Stress weakens your heart and brain. And fear weakens your kidney. This is how our emotions affects our body. So we have done with the definitions, nature and connection of the emotions with the brain. So thank you.